You were listening to Wait a Minute with Beth and Jessica.
Episode 78. I'm Jessica Pearson, certified life coach.
And I'm Beth Barnett-Babel, integrative nutrition therapist.
We keep our eyes peeled for things in the media or in real life that come from diet culture or that perpetuate diet culture in some way. These are often the subtle ways it creeps in, which is why we're shining a light on it and sharing it with you.
Okay, so today's topic comes via my real world, my real life. I had a friend leave me a Marco Polo. And for the people out there that don't know what Marco Polo is, which, there are people that actually don't know what it is. It is...
Most people don't. And I'm like, it's the best.
It's the best. So it is an app where you can leave a video message as long as you want. Or as short as you want. And so you're leaving a message for a friend or a group of friends, and then they can reply back. And it's wonderful because it's hard to have real-time conversations with people in our lives sometimes because of work and being a mom and being a spouse and just all the things. And so then you're not having to wait, and you don't have to worry about the weird text nuances. You just get to leave a message. And if you don't like it, you can delete it. And then if you pay a little bit per year, you can put them on 1.5 or 2x speed and go right through it. So it's wonderful. Okay, so that's my plug about Marco Polo. So my friend left a polo, and she said, one morning she was like, I'm thankful for the people who are expecting me at the gym, because without them, I don't know that I would get up and go for myself. And so that accountability that someone is there waiting for me is what it takes for me to go and do what I need to do for my body. And I was like, oh,
Well, yeah. That was what I was missing in the pandemic. As an introvert, I didn't realize how much I relied on just other people being in a class as motivation. Not that they're necessarily holding me accountable, because they don't know me, but I don't know. There's something about participating in
so it wasn't like a particular person getting you to class. It was just the fact that you paid for the class and went.
Well, I think the honest truth is if you cancel too late, they charge you.
Right. And you're like, dang it.
So you have to go.
Right.
But there was some level of accountability. Like, I don't know. I was just thankful for them being there, even though that's not exactly what you're saying.
No,
here.
but it is. Yeah. I think that's a version of it, though.
Yeah.
Right. So my thoughts that she had was like, dang, like usually when we say that, like I need to have somebody hold me accountable. And for you, it was like a class. For some people, it's a friend. Some people, they pay a trainer. All the different ranges that if they didn't do that, they feel kind of like a twinge of like, ugh, or it's like this underlying yuckiness that you might feel because we feel like, oh, maybe we're not good enough, that we can't go to the gym unless we have a friend or a trainer waiting for us. And I disagree. And I will say, I'm using the gym for simplicity but really it could be for walks or jogs outside, dance, yoga, whatever it is that you do for movement.
Well, I also hear it with nutrition, right? People come to us because they just want us to hold them accountable.
Right.
Like, help me plan my week. Help me decide what to eat. And yeah, I think maybe there's some kind of stigma where it's that like, oh, I can do it all. I don't need help.
Right.
And so why do I need help? Why do I require assistance to get anything done? But it's like, because we need help.
We do. We need help. And I think that there's nothing wrong with needing to pay somebody or having that friend that just will be there to show up with you, to hold you accountable, because even if it's an important thing on your health, because there are lots of things we wouldn't do if somebody wasn't holding us accountable. Like, would you pay taxes if the IRS and the government wasn't holding you accountable by seizing your property and giving you hefty fines and or potentially going to jail, depending on how bad it gets? Like, would any of us do it? No, we would not. Even though we like some of the services that our city and county provides that we pay taxes with, we're still like, oh God, okay, here's all my money.
Yeah, I mean, I think about just like going into an office when I had a corporate job. And that would be the argument for being self-employed, is it's so much harder to hold yourself accountable to show up every day.
Right, like a job holds you accountable.
I mean, I used to have a job where if I showed up 1 minute after 8, I would get like reprimanded. 1 minute.
I mean, seriously.
And that was just it felt so demeaning. It really wasn't helpful to me at all. Like, I just wanted to keep fighting the man.
Right. You were like, I want to be accountable for showing up and being here. But like, that's taking it too far, being held too far.
Totally. But I guess it's just a good point to like what kind of accountability somebody likes. Because sometimes I'll ask people like what looks and feels like not just success to you, but what do you need from me as a coach to help you find this success? Because everybody's a little different. Some people are like, I just need you to show up. And some people are like, I'm going to need this extra layer where you're like texting me every week, or I really like to hear messages, or can you send me recipes? Like, everybody just has like kind of this little nuance of like the little extra that they need. And it's different for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I think about, and I feel like we've talked about before, and if we go back to exercise and needing this external accountability, we have to do exercise because we don't have like manual labor jobs or lifestyles anymore. So it's not natural for us to do that. So I think it is natural to need a person to help us get going, or that we might have to pay a fee for not showing up to the class or something, because we have so many other demands on our time and on our mental capacity and our physical capacity. So oftentimes movement for many of us falls real low on the list because it's not a natural thing that we're biologically wired to just go to the gym.
I really like that take. Like, working out is not natural.
I mean,
but either is just sitting on a couch watching TV.
Correct.
But why is that one so much easier?
Because
so much
it's so much easier. Because we delight in the easy thing, right? Always. We're always going to choose the easier thing. And we know that we did what we needed to do to like work at our job to get the money to buy our food and pay for our house in. And so then it's like harder. Whereas before we had to actually go be the ones to find the food or grow the food or, do all the things. And we couldn't just go press a button on the wall and turn up the air up and down. Now we had to like open windows or create fire or whatever. We had all these things that we were constantly doing. Leisure was much like after you got all your other stuff done.
But were you the one that sent me the thing about leisure?
I heard a new thing about leisure.
I need to send this to you because she was talking about how like we're like back in the day when we were hunter-gatherers, we actually slept and napped a lot more.
Yeah.
And like there was actually more leisure in that life than we think, because we just think, oh, you'd be so busy hunting, gathering, lighting fires.
Right.
But like you could also be just napping in the middle of the day because there's nothing else to do.
Right. Yeah, we had more time. And yes, I don't know if you sent it to me. Maybe you did, but I did see it because it was the gal that studies what our life's before time. And she, the best that we can do now is look at the indigenous tribes around the world that are still functioning as if we're still living back then. And so when they study their time, there's a lot more leisure time involved in that. Mm-hmm. And there's almost...
Yes, it was that lady.
Yeah.
Because she was also talking about the community factor of like, you wouldn't be the one hunting and gathering and lighting the fire and cleaning up. You were the one person doing all the things.
Yes.
There was a whole community and everybody had their different jobs and they supported each other.
Right.
So really, like, if working out is not natural, but accountability is natural. Or
right.
Is it accountability or is it community?
I think it's community.
Yeah.
I think the community holds everyone accountable. I just heard this on Adam Grant's podcast that was talking about shame, and that shame is the reason why we have the response of shame is because as our community, it would look bad on us if we did that. Like the things that we did would reflect badly on us in our community. Like we would be showing a bad light, except for now we take things way too far in determining what our shame is. Like the example was like the guest was talking about, I have like the shame around I can't keep my drawers neat and tidy. You know, she was like, they're a hot mess. Just the clothes are thrown in there. And for 35 years, I have like this shame about how I just can't get my stuff together to have, you know, a drawers like other people. But she finally realized that it wasn't silly. So shame is was once related to
I'd actually love to know
accountability.
that stat of how many people do have organized drawers.
I have no idea. I can only assume that that's the way you operate based on what I know and believe.
Well, your drawers are probably folded, right? That's my
Very
guess.
much
They're very
so.
organized.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean,
and so are my husband's. Yeah.
what, yours are not.
Well, they're categorized, right? There's like the t-shirt drawer.
But
which
what
is, like,
happens
my
inside
t-shirts.
the t-shirt drawer? Are they just in there willy-nilly?
It's a light fold and then a throw. It's not like a tight fold. I'm not using like a gap, like, you know, it's not a tight fold. It's just like a light fold and then just
Are they stacked or like on top of each other, or are they like files? Are there?
Oh, they're more stacked, if we can even call it. Because at some point you're going through the stack and then you're pulling one out and then it gets tumbly. And then they're just t-shirts that I'm like working out in. So I don't really care. If it's something that's nice enough that needs to be cared for, it is on a hanger.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. No, well, we're way off topic here, but I don't care. So my drawers are,
Well, I'd love to know.
well, my drawers are they're not deep. So I can't stack, because if I were to stack like upwards, so if we were to stack,
yours is filed.
yeah, I have to be filed, because if not, I can't see what's in there. So that's how it goes.
Yeah.
And then like all my workout pants, all the pants that can get rolled, because then I can see them. Because if I were to just stack them up, then I would never, it would be too much chaos for me. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah. But I do have some shame about it, because it is like when your external environment is not, you know, when everything's in this perfect order, you're like, wow, I do feel really good about myself. But also, who has the time and the energy?
Right. But it's like, who cares, right? So we're going to rewind. Okay. So
the point was, we don't need to feel shame about those little
we
things.
don't need to feel shame about the little things. Shame is for the big things of how we would function in a bigger society. But because our society is getting like more and more different, we keep getting shame about things that we really don't need to be shamed about.
What do you mean by different? Just the fact that we have more, like, there's so much more awareness and visibility about how we all live. Like, we're just sharing more information. So are we just more aware?
I think it's that. I think it's like just the nonstop like echo chamber of stuff, like, and that we all live in like these like individual bubbles and less so in these bigger outward ways. It's all very like individualized. We're becoming way more individualized than we ever have been.
To our own detriment.
To our own detriment, yes. We were talking about just a few minutes ago about when we lived in these community-based settings in our olden tribal times. We stopped doing that when we decided that land was valuable and we wanted to have our own land, and this section of land is for me. And so it becomes valuable. I'm going to stay put here. And then because of that, now I need to have one partner, and I need to know who my kids are, who I can give this land to. And that's when we all start having to like do more and more and more things for ourselves versus the community. And some people would grow this and some people would grow that and yada, yada, yada. But, you know, we became more and more individualistic as we decided that this piece of land is my land.
Yeah. Well, and back then we were still multi-generational,
Right.
which was a benefit at least, because in the 1950s we just cut that out.
We don't need this anymore.
So yeah, it's like it hasn't even been 100 years of the nuclear family model functioning, and clearly it's not functioning.
No, it's not.
So yeah, if you need a buddy to be at the gym, that's okay.
Yeah. And if that buddy is somebody you pay because they're a trainer, who cares?
I almost think you have to pay somebody, because I mean, you got to find the friend that's going to be like, I will also show up, right? Because when you're like, well, I don't really want to go. You want to go.
That too.
You could definitely keep each other down. So, I mean, I almost think paying somebody is worth it, because you know that they're always going to be the one to motivate you.
Yeah. And there are days that you don't need that, right? There are days that you want to just go and do the thing and walk on your own little leisure and whatnot. And that's okay too. I'm not saying that you have to find somebody to hold you accountable. But if you are having a hard time doing the doing, then find the person that will help you be accountable in a loving way, not in a shaming way.
Yeah. That is such a good point, because I feel like the word accountability comes with like that tough love. Like, I'm going to whip you into shape, kind of like abuse. It doesn't have to look like that.
Yeah. It's like, I want you to get what you want out of your life. And so I'm going to help you do that. And in turn, I'm also showing up because I want to get something. I want to do these things too.
My brain just went to this place of sometimes where clients want to be held accountable, and then they show up and they're like, I didn't do the things.
Right. I hear that a lot.
Or in a worst case scenario, they don't show up to the appointment because they have shame. Like they're making the accountability mean something.
Right.
That's creating shame, where it's like, oh no, I'm not here to shame you. I'm not here to like tell you that what you are doing or not doing is wrong. I'm just like, here. And when you show up and I show up, we can make a plan.
That's right. Because then, like continue to show up, because then that tells me if you weren't able to do it, we made a plan that wasn't right for you. So we either set our bars too high, or something changed, or that was not what we really wanted. And so then we get to alter the plan to make it be more for what will work. That's how I like for people to still come to the appointment, even though they didn't do what we said. Because 100%. It's like, and they don't realize 100%. That, like you said, like they think that it's bad they didn't do it. But really, it's like, well, then we didn't create the right plan. Let's figure something else out.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes I think there's just value in being there together and talking something through. Like, it's not always about the action that you're taking all week long. It's like just being there in that moment can be really valuable. And I think the same obviously goes for when you're at the gym. Just show up. Yeah.
So, that's like the examples of 1% in James Clear's Atomic Habits book is like the first step for some people is just driving to the gym, not even getting out of your car yet. And then sometimes it's like driving to the gym, getting to the door, and then out. Like there are these steps that sometimes we have to take because it just becomes, it's a lot.
I have totally bailed at the gym where I'm like, okay, I got in the car, I got dressed, I walked in, I looked around, and I was like, no, today. And then I walked out, and I was like, well, we'll try again tomorrow.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, but I think people are afraid, like, your brain's like, oh, well, that's not enough, or that's not helpful, or it's a failure. Well, maybe it is a failure, but do we have to make that mean something bad? It's just like, yeah, it didn't work out today, so show up again later.
Yeah, but you got there and for whatever reason, it was a no. But I think it's like the getting there is a big, big hurdle.
Mm-hmm. Or have you ever been driving to the gym and then on the way you're like, nope, just go the other direction?
I have not done that for the gym.
Which is
only
way easier.
Because it's not very far. but going to run. I've gone on the Town Lake Trail before, and I got a really good parking spot, and I was so excited. So Town Lake is, the river is really a river, and there's a running trail on both sides of it for those that are not in Austin. And, there's different bridges that you can cross over, or you can do out and back. So anyways, I got a great parking spot. I was so excited because, it's a rarity. I'm jogging. And then I'm like, I don't feel like jogging. Maybe I'll walk. And then I was like, did I pay for parking? I don't know. Do I have my phone? No. Shoot. I got to go back and pay for parking. And I was like, I don't want to be here anyway. So I just got in my car and drove away. I made it 0.1 miles or something like that there and back. That was it. And I was like, oh, that was a nice try. Maybe tomorrow.
Nice try.
Nice try.
Which maybe if you had your accountability buddy.
Yeah. If somebody had been there with me, I would have gone and paid for my parking on my phone, and then we would have kept right on going. But I just wasn't having it. And so I got in my car and just went home. And it felt great. And I wasn't mad about it. I tried again a different day. And that's what happens.
And then you Marco Polo all your friends and you tell them.
I did.
Marco Polo.
I did make it. You'll never believe what happened. That probably did happen, actually. Maybe not all of them, but probably at least one person got to hear that story. Well, we hope that you can find somebody or something that you want to use as an external accountability in your life for something that you want to do. Go find that person or thing, and we hope that it brings you peace or joy or something.
I sure hope we gave you something new to think about today and helped you take one more step on your path to freeing yourself from diet culture. Please be sure to subscribe to this podcast, wait a minute, and follow us on Instagram at path_nutrition.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.